I'm telling you right now. People are unhappy about it.
Yes, there's
Nice moving them in.
29, but it was a new sign that they
I'd
had.
like to have everyone's attention, please. Thank you.
Explain 333 or whatever, ain't gonna happen.
All right, it's nice to see everybody here tonight. It's my privilege to open up our meeting for April 28, 2015. Jill, before we call the roll, Mike Pauley is not available to attend tonight, so I'll move that we excuse Mr. Pauley. Just a second. And then Jill, if you would just call the roll.
Okay. Jim Matthews.
Here.
Dan Moore.
Here. Thank you. The minutes were prepared from our regular trustees meeting dated April 14th, 2015. Dan, did you have any corrections or changes to those? In order. Thank you. Those minutes will stand approved as prepared for us. Public speaks. We'll open up the meeting for anyone that has anything before we cover our agenda items. If you do have anything, you're welcome to step up to the mic.
Oh, you guys can hear me. My name's Robert Baker. I'm the Wiles' grandson. You guys probably already answered this about a million times and dealt with it, but do you know why Time Warner's only running cable through a portion of the township and won't run it, even though there's houses less than half a mile away that don't even have it?
Well, I know that we've addressed with Time Warner the geographic coverage before, and they've just given us the excuse or the comment that you would expect, which is market.
Because I got home from the Navy in 2012, and I've been looking since then to get cable and everything, and they told me I need 10 people interested on the road. And the only part of Greenbrier that doesn't have cable is from Rock Hill to Atwater, because it goes down Atwater and up Lair and all that. And I took them the names and everything, then finally managed to get a hold of someone about 3 weeks ago, and they said that they just try to beat around the bush and treat me like I was stupid. Even though there's the line that stops at the edge of the Vance property, and they won't even run up to Vance's, and that's 400 feet. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
all they've ever told us is that it's based, their geography, their layout is based upon market, and whether or not they have the clients that are willing to move the cable.
yeah, because Verizon, they offer internet and everything, but they won't service it out there on Greenbrier because of the simple fact that Time Warner is supposed to be a service provider. And Time Warner and Comcast, and they say because of that is, because they're the service providers, they're not allowed touching internet, and AT&T can't give internet or cable because Time Warner and Comcast, and they can't do a thing. And I mean, I've been trying to get the veterans organizations involved because I know that they've been having a lot of stink with this in other areas of Ohio and everything about Time Warner being, I don't know the polite language to use, so I'm just not going to say it, but they haven't been able to figure out anything. I mean, and I've spoke to manager upon manager, and they just try and beat around the bush.
And the only control we have over franchising like that is the ability to charge a franchise fee for the coverage area that they do have. We do have a resolution in place that picks up that fee for our local service area, but otherwise we can't dictate, of course, where their geographic area is covered or anything else.
Yeah, the only person I could get an answer out of told me to talk to you guys, and I figured I'd ask y'all. So I appreciate
The only
it.
person at Time Warner told you to talk to us? Or?
Yeah, the only person I could actually get an answer out of, besides, oh, well, let's send you this person, send this person.
And maybe apparently they think we can order that they send it. So.
Because what that
They
guy
want to talk to us. Huh?
what that guy told me was that if you talk to your township and everything, and they call Time Warner and say it's either you run the entire township or you don't run any, that's how it gets done. Basically tell them they can't have service in the township unless they offer to the entire thing, and that's the only answer I get out of someone.
Could you imagine, I think you're reading my mind, can you imagine either one of the board members or the board collectively floating that approach? And then I can envision this letter coming to us that effective 4 days after we got your letter, there'll be no cable service in your township. Thank you very much for your letter. So I'm not sure that's something that we would want to embark on.
Yeah. I mean, that was the only answer I could get out of anybody after being tossed around to about 17 different people. So I figured I'd
It's been a couple of years since we addressed the Greenbauer gap, if you want to call it that. If you want, we could dust out the letters and send them another one and ask them to look at their service area.
Myself and about 14 other houses would be greatly appreciated, because a lot of us are sick and tired of dealing with DirecTV and Dish Network, because I spent about 6 hours on the phone with DirecTV one day and about 12 hours, and even though me being a veteran and everything, there's like...
No, it wouldn't hurt to once again just address it. Like I said, it has been a couple of years. So we'll get a letter out to them and see if we get any response at least, okay?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Anybody else have anything?
You cut off the cable for the whole township. The room isn't big enough for the people that'll...
Yeah. Now, I did just speak for myself, but I assume that we don't want to go. Okay, I just want to make sure.
You know me well enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I figured I'd ask, because my grandpa's been hollering and hankering about DirecTV and Dish Network since I was in high school.
Well, fair enough. We'll see if we can get any progress from it.
Appreciate it.
Sure thing. All right, road department. In Mike's absence, I'll cover these items with you, if that's okay. You can just start with the report.
Request approval to send an invoice to the trucking company to recover costs for damages done on Township Road for an accident on April 8th, 2015, Sheriff Case Number 15-2822.
And you just prepared this based upon the same labor calculations you did before?
Yes.
It's probably to the same company?
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah, we have had one from Hogan, 2 or 3 to Hogan.
Well, at least we know we're going to get paid, right? All right, well, I appreciate you preparing that for us, and I'll move that we approve sending an invoice to Hogan Transport as a consequence of the damages at Fisher and Cedar.
Second.
Request approval for a purchase order to Central Allied in the amount of $1,000 for hand patching.
I'll move that we open that purchase order to Central Allied.
Second.
Request approval for a purchase order to Alliance Motors in the amount of $272.20 for a brake valve on the dump truck.
Okay, is the work already done, or?
No.
Okay, and I'll open that, and I'll move that we open that as a purchase order.
Second.
Request approval for a purchase order to Fastenal in the amount of $114.32 for a concrete cutting blade for catch basins.
All right, I'll move we open that purchase order to Fastenal.
Second.
Discuss sale and disposal of old fuel tanks.
Do you have an idea of the value on what you're talking about here?
I mean, the pumps themselves, $300 to $500 each.
Okay.
The tanks being as old as they are, probably not much of a scrap race.
All right, sent to Jill the requirements for disposing of property. I didn't get a chance to read all of the thresholds. I think one of them is, what, 2,500?
Right. If it's excess of 2,500, you have to do a public auction or sealed bid. Did you check with Edinburgh Jacob? Did you get the chance to check
I didn't get
it?
that far yet. I was looking for their number, and then we got sidetracked.
And I can make that call tomorrow even to see. That was the other thing. It might be, when I read through it, Jim, kind of when it gets back into you're allowed to sell it by internet auction, which I would assume, I don't know if that's the same as listing it on Craigslist or doing it on eBay. I guess that would be internet auction, but kind of then that kind of goes into a whole lot of, the summary, we have to publish a summary, and it probably would end up costing us more in advertising to publish that summary than it would.
And that's kind of the catch-all regardless of value clause.
Right, that's regardless of value, you're doing it as an internet auction, and Ford's internet website, and it kind of almost sounded like I wasn't sure if we were the ones that were supposed to actually run the internet auction, or...
I think there's some language about having someone serve as the representative who knows the value. because somebody has to actually participate.
Right. So it might be, kind of, we're thinking it might be just as easy just to take it to Edinburgh.
Well, it's under $2,000.
If they'll take used fuel.
Yeah, and I think your best route is to simply follow the provision of the statute. When the value of the property, in the opinion of the board, is under $2,500, you can sell by private sale without advertising or public notification, or of course donate the property. So why not just go the private sale route, unless that's too awkward.
No, I think that would be the easiest.
Is it? All right, well, if that's what you'd like to do, and in light of your best estimate of the materials we're talking about, the fuel tanks and related apparatus and equipment being in all likelihood of a value under $2,500, I move that we authorize the road superintendent to proceed with the sale of the property by private sale. Second. There you go. So at your convenience, whenever you get a chance to get the things together, just take care of it.
You're wearing a lot of hats, Mike.
And again, I emphasize that if that's the reasonable way to do it, if you want to go the other route, that catch-all is regardless of value. You can go any other route. You can do public, you can auction, just request sealed bids, whatever is easiest. It's not worth fussing if it's a lot of fuss to carry them out there
Yeah.
to get $1,000 or $1,500.
Yeah, I think that would be the easiest route, is to take them there.
All right. Okay. Try that first, and hopefully you'll just report that you get a check and we're done. And you don't have to bring them back.
Yeah. Request approval for physical officer to submit request to the county auditor for tax evaluation for a 1.7 mil renewal road levy, a 1.7 mil plus additional half mil road levy, and a 1.75 mil new road levy.
I think at this stage what we're planning to do is certainly seek renewal of the 1.7 existing, right?
Right.
And then we were talking about looking at a possible half mil addition to that, correct?
Right.
Which would be by way of one ballot issue if they were combined. So I'll move that we authorize the fiscal officer to submit requests to the county auditor for tax evaluations first and separately for a 1.7 mil renewal road levy, and then secondly for a 1.7 mil renewal plus an additional half mil.
Second.
And I think you have the paperwork. You'll just need to have one
Yeah,
page
the one
changed.
needs to, because I think we have the paperwork to do them as two total separate entities. We'll just,
And then you don't have to submit those at the same time. If you want to go ahead and get the 1.7 in,
okay.
you can do the other later. But we do have plenty of time
Right.
looking at our deadlines. All right, Mike?
Discuss signs on Fisher and Cedar, see attached. When I was down at the Stark County meeting down there, he kind of emailed me over what they did at a landfill facility where they had a truck issue. The roads, they would just put a sign that says, continue on, and then down at the road, which would be on Gaskill, they will put a sign for them to go down Northland.
All right.
So, but I do believe there's going to be some cost to us for the signs. He talked as if he would have no problem putting them up.
Okay.
So,
Can't work these into the grant either, can you?
probably too late.
That's okay. I'd say go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah, I think-
Try and cut down on the
Try something.
damage.
Okay.
And you did say that they had pretty good success, or it was a lot.
Yeah, he
Well,
said it
that's
helped
wrong.
out. Yeah, down
And
there.
you're still not going to get everybody.
Right.
But if we can cut it back, that's good. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, just go for that. And if you want to get an estimate or some purchase order from him, or some type of invoice, we could open a purchase order for him. All right?
Okay. Discuss signs on Commerce. We'll be installing 2 slow industrial area signs, and we'll split the cost with Mack Trailer at $140 total.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that either.
Now that 140, oh, that's right, we can do that through a,
We already have the post. I just placed the order for the 2 signs, which
and the
is
2
like
signs were under $100,
$83. Yeah.
right, it's $83,
Yeah.
we pay that under the BC.
Very good.
It's 83 then?
Yeah, for the signs. Well, the total cost that we're splitting with Matt will be the 140,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
but we already have the signposts, so we don't have to order those.
All right.
And then have an FYI, we have been awarded a township grant for the 2016 state physical year totaling $16,476.08. See attached.
That's good.
And the fact that that's the state fiscal year, the money won't be actually appropriated until after July 1st. So we'll see the signs in sometime late summer.
Thanks again, Mike, for all your hard work, and Jamie, too, for helping do that.
Is that an in-kind, or how do they handle that? Or is it cash and we purchase it?
I believe the way I understood her was that they're going to send the signs and everything direct to us.
That'd be great.
So they did, Dan did bring home from when they went down to that meeting in February some information on how you're supposed to do it for accounting purposes and that. And I started reading it, got a little confused, and thought I'd wait until we actually got the grant and then figure out.
Well, I'm thinking it'll be easier for...
If it's in kind, we
maybe
won't have to
not.
worry about it. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, very good, Mike.
And then a reminder, road bids will be opened at the next regular trustee meeting on May 12th, 2015 at 6:45 p.m.
Okay, very good.
And that is all I have.
Well, thank you. Anything, Dan?
Oh, no, thanks, Mike.
All right. See you later. One item under the fire department. Okay, Chief wasn't going to be here?
No, I had an appointment tonight.
All right. Dan, you want to just handle that one whopping item under the fire department?
Request approval for a purchase order to Lindy Gas in the amount of $300 for the oxygen cylinder rental. I make a motion that we open the purchase order.
Second. All right. Linda, you're up.
How quickly it comes around.
First item on the agenda is to discuss any zoning issues or complaints that are of interest or think you need help with or anything.
Just want to go ahead to start the procedure on the other half of the collapsed barn. As Skip said, the roof became the floor over the winter.
This is McCallum.
And Larry, yeah. We did the last half of that building in 2009. I didn't realize it had been that long. But at that point, we had to go clear through the court system before they were willing to do anything. I'm hoping with just the initial letters and the reminder of the past case that they may contact us. The chief's going to write me a letter about the condition, and I've asked the building department to look at it and give me a letter. So at the next meeting, you can declare, if we don't get a response, you can declare it a nuisance.
All right.
There should be 2 pictures there.
Is that the new camera?
Yeah.
Good deal.
Once Jamie got me a card for it, and it was great. I didn't know when you were snapping away, there was no SD card in it. There was nothing recording. So I got smart on that after she figured it out for me.
You know, back in the days we used to put film.
I understand film. I don't understand the rest of it.
Wow, that's bad.
So at this point, you're just going to send them a letter? Or
I'm going to send, a copy of the letter from the fire department, from the building department, asking them to apprise us of when they plan to do the demolition and cleanup.
Okay. It did take a while on the other half, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Any other complaints in the book or any other issues to address tonight?
Not really. Some of the banks have already started mowing. I've contacted several of them, and they have put the vacant houses we have on their maintenance. So it'll be kind of a hide and watch. And then we have 3 sidewalk items. There's a couple of questions on a couple of them that I wanted to discuss with you. I have a letter on a zoning complaint on the one application.
Well, in no particular order here, I guess. This one's for Ridgefield.
Yes. It's one of those corner lots that could not be built on even if someone did want it because you couldn't meet the setbacks on both sides. And Mrs. Higgins has been mowing it and taking care of it for several years. That's a form the county sent over. I think she wants probably Jill to fill that one out to go with them when we send them back. The top one is our form. They just want verification that they are vacant and the taxes are behind. I'll give them to you. All you have to do is sign them and I'll notarize them for you.
All right, well, do you want to go ahead and consider each one of these
Yes,
tonight?
please.
So the questions that we would have to answer with regard to the first one is whether or not the transfer would comply or not with the township zoning resolution. And I'm assuming it would.
Yes.
It would also conform to the township's future land use plans.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any outstanding violations on it?
There is on the one I think that you're looking at right now, and the letter is attached. Is that
What
letter?
about on this one?
No, nothing on
That one would be answered no.
She's good.
Any other reason or suggestions for recommending denial?
No,
So we would recommend approval.
I would, yeah.
All right. Well,
On those two.
Well, we're just dealing with this
Oh,
one.
you're on Higgins now?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, then, consistent with the county's sidewalk program and having answered the questions that we needed to review as part of the process, I'd move that we complete our form and authorize or recommend authorizing approval of the sidewalk acquisition.
Second that.
Okay. Now the next one, rather go by address or location. Park Center. And what's this particular one for?
Same situation, it's a corner lot. He's been using it, been mowing it, but he does have a fence on his attached property that's 10 feet high, and our maximum zoning is 6. I sent him a couple letters since 2013, and I did mention it to him when he was in here, and he said, well, my neighbor's is the same. I said, I've sent your neighbor the same.
You said what?
I said, I've sent your neighbor the same letter, because whether you want to consider that when it comes to sidewalk, it's strictly up to you. That was an FYI for your information.
Violation's actually on his property.
Yes, not the one he's acquiring, but the one he lives in.
You know what, though? The question that we apparently have to answer is whether or not there are any violations on the applicant's properties.
Which is why I gave you the letter.
And this dates back to 2013, and they've not
Oh,
cooperated.
it dates back, I think, to 2011,
Okay.
but they have not at any time.
Then we would offer cooperation. Why, I guess, is my rhetorical question. So on this one, I'd move that we go ahead and answer the questions relating to township zoning and future land use plans, that it would comply, correct?
Yes.
However, we also need to put in here that there are outstanding violations on the applicant's properties.
Yes.
And then the reason to recommend denial would be the fact that there's been non-compliance with efforts to seek conformity with that zoning violation, right?
Right.
And so on this one then, I would move that we recommend that the request be rejected. Okay. All right.
And because the question is going to come to, if he corrects his violation, will we consider revisiting this?
Well, we would always be willing to revisit things if somebody cooperates after however many years issue there. And maybe we would do it in a faster manner. And your final one is for Greenbauer, right?
Yes, this is right across from the township garage. There are no buildings or homes or anything on the existing property that they have now. And they want to acquire the two adjoining properties. The only thing that we've had on this over the last few years is they've made a lot of requests to put camping trailers out there, to put tents, to put a pavilion, things that do not fall into the rural residential. There's no violations on it at this time. And there are also a couple of property owners that actually have residences that butt up to these, but I don't think that they have been notified that these are up for availability. So that's kind of the one I'm throwing in your lap.
Well, that's good.
You got Brian.
What's on the Greenbauer property, the property that's being requested for transfer?
Well, an old chicken coop, an old trailer. That's where they had the cockfights for a while that we had to go out and put a stop to. So they're really trashy. These people at least are willing to clean it up, according to...
But they're proposing to attach it as a side yard to a property that doesn't have any structure.
Right, vacant land.
Is there a requirement for them to have?
They prefer it. I did ask Sarah.
That's what I know.
I did ask her that. She said they prefer that it is attached to a residence. If we could maybe postpone it 2 weeks and see if the people on the other side are interested in also making an application, or not. Because what they want to do is, their property sits here, and they want to attach this one and this one.
So could only attach the second one.
If they acquired the first one, then they get the second one. That's the way she explained it to me.
Well, I don't know. What's the likelihood of anybody else competing, if you will, for the property?
The likelihood of somebody else competing and doing all the cleanup probably is not as good as this one would be. And I will continue to be firm about no campers, no pavilions, no tent camping type things.
This wasn't too bad. I'd buy it.
Be interesting to see if the county believes this actually conforms to their plans.
I questioned that one.
I just don't think it's what it's intended to do.
Do you want to table it for 2 weeks and give the neighbors on the other side the opportunity to...
What do you think? I mean, wait an extra 2, and what are you going to do, contact people?
Can do that.
It's fine. I don't mind doing that.
Okay.
I think that program's actually intended to take vacant land and have it adjoining to existing
I
uses.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, that's how I understood it from the beginning.
Otherwise, it ought to go through the other planning process.
Yes.
Who are we to say what the county wants to do with this program? All right, Linda. Next item.
Oh, gosh, where am I? Oh, that's under zoning. I don't have anything on the county commissioner's public hearing except it is going to take place. Jill said she was going, and I said I would be glad to go with her if they had any questions about the locations and what we were doing that she was not comfortable answering.
Okay, well, what she's talking about is our petition to vacate certain alleys has been scheduled for a commissioner's hearing on May 20th at 1 p.m. I think we should all just kind of tentatively be available. I don't know that we necessarily all have to go, but we want to make sure these get through.
Yes.
So that somebody is there to answer any questions. And Dan, you can certainly have it down too. I mean, we'll figure out between now and then who should go and handle it. Okay? Fair enough? That's fine. Good. All right. Anything else?
That I can think of.
Dan,
Oh, just an FYI, maybe Penny will say, we did go to court this morning on 183 and went into mediation as required, I guess. We came out of mediation as required, or escaped, and a full evidentiary hearing has been scheduled for June the 2nd. And they want him to, I guess, prove he's not in contempt of court.
So an actual show cause went on, it'll shift the burden. And
Right, he wouldn't stipulate that he was in violation. So there was no purge hearing. It goes now to contempt.
that's fine.
He just kept throwing his state salvage license at us.
Very good. Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
Ken, anything for us tonight?
Only repeat what she said.
Okay. Very good. Dan, anything for Ken?
No, there's nothing. Thank you, Ken, for doing that today.
All right, a few general township items to cover. First is to address the contract for the Limaville Lexington Cemetery. Exact same terms.
Yeah, same terms as last time.
Yep,
Everything's
split half,
same
Yes,
fees.
all right.
50/50.
Then that's fine. I'll move that we authorize the extension of the Union Cemetery Agreement with the Village of Limaville.
Second thing.
The Marlington School Board of Education would like to use our meeting room on May 11th, 2015.
Right.
I'm assuming this is for some public meeting relating to the school projects.
Yes, it is. Mr. Scott, school board member, called and requested, he wants to they're holding town hall meetings
Okay.
to discuss, the future building plans, get people's input. I would assume, he didn't specify, but I assume they're having one in each township.
Makes sense. And it is available that
It is available that night.
All right, I'll move that we authorize the Marlington School Board to use our meeting room on May 11th, 2015 for their public event.
Second.
And we have told them that they need to come in and sign the agreement.
Will be available to let them in.
Yeah, that will have to
That's
be.
the other thing.
When is May 11th?
It's
Monday.
the Monday before
our
our
meeting.
Yeah, our next meeting.
What time do they come?
What time?
Because I work on Mondays from 6 to 8, so
Oh, okay. I'm guessing it's probably 6 or 7. I'll find out.
Yeah.
then I will be here.
Just make sure whoever contacts them when they sign, just to come over and see Linda.
Okay, that sounds good. I forgot about Mondays.
Linda, if for some reason you have a problem, you call me and let me know.
Okay, it shouldn't be. Graduation will be over.
We need to take care of our Delta Dental bill, I guess, for the remainder of the year. I'll move we open a purchase order to Delta Dental in the amount of $4,045 for that.
Second.
Okay. Dan, anything general township related?
No.
I think the fiscal officer should make an announcement regarding the annexation proceeds, right?
Yeah, yes, I can do that.
Yeah. Ken, you might want to listen to this. Your work, your diligent work.
They got paid?
Not well. We're close.
We've got the offer to be paid. We just have to tell him how we would like it. Yes, I spoke to...
In gold coin file right here.
I spoke to Kevin Knowles, the city auditor, after we sent the letter prepared by Mr. Cardinal, and what he did to determine on the two different annexations, the amount percentages that were owed back to Lexington on the city taxes that they collected. He commented that on apologized for the delay, but that they wanted to check everything over and they agreed with everything. And but they just wanted to see how we wanted paid. He also was kind of asking if he was hoping maybe to see if they could set it up through the auditor, that when they cut it, they'd send it.
No,
You wanted
can't be.
It can't.
It's in the statute, it cannot be.
Okay.
It's
then
a
I will-
reimbursement is the way.
Okay.
His auditor statute specifically says nothing to come through the auditor
Auditor.
on deducting from them and paying us.
Okay, so they
It's
have
a
to.
private
that's what-
matter between two.
Okay, and that was his comment, was that's fine, if he has to, they'll appropriate the money at their next meeting and we'll be able to get it.
Very good.
And then he also did question if in the future, as we go forward, if we wanted to continue to just kind of go on the way we had, or if he wanted to see if the auditor could set it up and...
The auditor, again, steps out of it under the statute.
Okay.
Here's our problem. The statute clearly says Alliance shall pay us.
So the Alliance should be determining now.
Right. And what we had to do was we had to assume the burden of finding out what Alliance owed us.
Okay.
Now that we've got all the partial numbers and everything like that, our job would be much easier now because we can run the partial numbers and actually determine
it.
what percentage or what they got paid.
Yeah.
We can do that
Okay.
because I know that they probably
Probably
wouldn't.
would, right.
But it's up to the township whether or not they want to get paid yearly on that after the collection because we didn't receive any interest on this money.
Right.
I think it makes sense. There's a little bit of cost involved in having Ken prepare all of this.
No, that's free. That's part of my
Well,
contract.
Well, again, we appreciate that certainly, but I'd certainly be willing to pay you for the time to make sure our billing is accurate. They've not questioned the amounts at all. Apparently they went back.
The only question, he went back and looked at it, he said originally they weren't sure if it should have gone back that far. I think they weren't thinking of the fact that we had two annexations. I think they were probably just remembering the one that we had fought over, yeah. But he said, no, he agreed with it, and that's how they're going to pay it.
I lost this bet.
Go ahead and plan to
He
do
said
it
he lost
annually.
his bet.
I lost the bet.
And it wasn't the phone call I expected, it wasn't the response I was expecting when I called him back either.
Wow.
It was no hesitation. We looked it over, you're right, we owe you.
So we have the answer to their question, right?
Yes.
Which is simply pass your appropriation and pay us
Send us the money.
as soon as you can.
Yes.
That's an easy one. Very good. Thank you, Ken, for getting all of that together, and Jill for handling the communication to get them. And we can check the statute, but I think that would all go general. I don't think that has to be apportioned.
No, it doesn't. It goes into your general account.
Very good. So we had a couple of nice things to report tonight. How about that? The grant on the signs, which was, $16-some odd thousand, and the recovery for our annexation funds that have been overdue. And it's always nice when you have nice things like that occur. All right, we have the cash revenue and expenditure financial report prepared by the fiscal officer representing the period of January 1 to date, and I'll move we approve that as prepared.
Second.
Bills tonight are $49,658.59, and I'll move we authorize payment of the bills.
Second.
Number of communication items, other notices and such, the typical items we received, move we file communications.
Second.
And I think that covers all of our agenda items, but we will open the floor to anybody that has any questions or comments. Doesn't look like it, so again, in Mike's absence, I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, thanks again, everybody.
Hey, Linda, I'll let you keep this too.
Okay.
Just see if anybody's interested. If not, we'll have it back on the agenda for the next meeting.